Hey, welcome back to Python MC. I'm your Python MC coach, Richard Ashe. In this section, we are going to break code. We're going to try to get as many errors as possible with for loops. So here we go. So by breaking code, by creating errors, we're going to learn a lot about Python. So in this first section, we want to create a list, and by doing that, we're going to have like square brackets on each side of this set of values. So fruits is the variable name. The list of values is inside these square brackets, so apples, plums, and oranges. Now, if I forget to put in that one of the brackets, it'll give me a syntax error. And what it does is it says it's on line 6. Basically, Python thinks this line is continuing on to 5 to 6, and it gets really confused because it's expecting this square bracket. If I put that square bracket back to complete the list, it'll work properly. The other error I'll get is if for some reason I use an inconsistent variable name. So remember, we're looping on this list. The list is called fruits, and I'm creating this variable for each fruit, and that's the variable name, in fruits, print each fruit. So the first time this loops, it'll be equal to apples, the second time it'll equal to plums, and third time it'll equal to oranges. And it'll do the same bit of code, print each time. So you'll see it does print, so it displays apples, plums, and oranges on the side here. And so it repeats that set of code. Now if I were to just call this for fruit and fruits, there's nothing wrong with the variable name fruit, but I just need to be consistent. Otherwise it's going to say, wait, what's each fruit? And that's a name error. I have no idea what each fruit is. So Python doesn't know because you haven't defined the variable name, each fruit. You've called the variable name as fruit now, so you just got to be consistent. Okay, and now it'll run properly. But so whatever code is going to be repeated in the for loop, however you're using that variable, you just need to be consistent. So in this case, I'm going to call it x. I just need to be consistent because what's happening is it's assigning, in this case, these different values in the list to x each time it goes through the loop, and then it's going to print x. So it's going to print the current value of x. So it's going to first do apples, plums, and oranges. But I just got to be consistent. So if I want to call that item, that'll be fine. I just got to be consistent every time I run this. Every time I use that variable name, I have to consistently use it in the loop. So in this case, item is the variable name. I have to be consistent and use item each time in that loop. The other thing that we'll do wrong with for loops is we'll forget this colon, because you need a colon at the end of that line, the two dots, and otherwise it'll get the syntax error. So Python's telling me you're not speaking my language properly. So I put a colon there, now it'll work. The other thing that we'll do wrong often is we'll forget to indent, because Python looks at, after it says for, after it gets the syntax for the for loop, when it says for item in fruits, or for x in fruits, or for x in my list, whatever I call this, after it follows that syntax and sees the colon, it expects an indentation on the next line. Whatever's indented, 4 spaces, 1, 2, oops, didn't do it, 1, 2, 3, 4, everything that's indented will be repeated. So now I've indented it, now it works just fine. Okay, the other thing that'll happen is that I might indent code that I don't want to repeat. In this case, print we are done with the for loop should be done only once, but if I indent it, it'll be repeated every time, because everything that is indented will repeat. So it kind of looks like a little bit of a pot handle or like a skillet. Everything that's indented, everything that's part of that skillet or that pot, it'll be repeated. In this case, this is indented, so you'll see it says apples we are done, plums we are done, oranges we are done. That's not what I want. Actually, it's not an error, but it's a bug. I mean, it's code running in an unexpected way, or give me an unexpected result. Now I'm going to do it again, and it works perfectly fine. The other thing, you might forget to put for. Now, it's called a for loop because the first part of the syntax, the first part of that line of code is the word for. If I just say item in fruits, it's like, well, what are you talking about? But it's for loop, so for item. Think of it as, for each time I do this loop, assign this value, the next value in the list, to this variable item. So I have to make sure I put in for at the beginning of my for loop. Pretty basic. And the last one is I might be inconsistent with the name of my list. Let's say I call it my fruits, and that's the name of the list, the variable name for this list of items. And then when I try to say fruits in my for loop, so for item and fruits, it's like, well, what is fruits? I have no idea what it is. Now, if I am consistent and I refer to it as my fruits, now it works. So the name of the list, just make sure that's consistent as well. So we've broken the code many different ways. I want you to get into it, try to break it yourself, and in the process, you're going to learn how Python syntax works. Have fun. We'll see you again on Python MC.